I'm Lydia. I've been making videos about simple living for several years here. I've lived a minimalist lifestyle for even longer. At the start of this channel, my journey focused mainly on decluttering to a rather extreme level, as I wanted to clear room in my physical space along with my headspace to start anew. Now that I've cleared the path of obstacles and distractions, it's made it possible to uncover the scope of what I really want and not what society tells me to want. I choose to showcase exactly that here on this channel, my minimalist home and simple way of living. A life that is as in tune with nature as possible, a simple life with limited stress that is easy and peaceful. I see myself eventually living in a remote cabin in the woods, but for now, I'm content. I think minimalism and simple living teaches us this, to be happy with the small pleasures of everyday life that we have now. So the projection of my simple life that I share here on this channel is everything I learn about this way of living along the way, so that maybe I can help others looking for a simple way of living too. One that feels like a true way of living, one that is free from agenda. Here where I live in North Yorkshire, the home of the famous Wuthering Heights moors, we have an expression that money doesn't grow on trees. But then someone always points out that in fact it does. So what is costly and what we choose to have, keep or own can be costly in many different ways. In recent weeks, I've been discussing how tech used wrongly could be costly, both metaphorically and literally. Costly to our physiology and psychology, costly financially, and costly to the environment if we constantly upgrade, but rather poignantly, costly to our peace. In this video, I'd like to discuss what else I may let go of to keep the peace in my life, and why therefore I want for nothing as a prerequisite of not wanting to own anything costly. As a human being, obviously, we have wants. I wanted this chair because I'm interested in interior design. So I think the key is differentiating our wants into smaller or bigger wants. And for me, what makes up whether something is a smaller or bigger want, again, it comes down to whether it creates peace in my home. And definitely having easy to care for furniture is one of those peaceful elements to me, along with some other things that I'm going to discuss today. But also, let me address the fact that I am holding my microphone. I normally like to clip it on, but when I wear tops that are a little bit floppy, I have no choice but to hold it, and it's something that really annoys me, but I have to hold it today because this top is a little bit lower and floppier. Anyway, let's get to the point. So fundamentally, this chair did not cost much, and neither did my beloved ceramics that are through in my kitchen. So they're not costly items in terms of expense, and I personally don't think that some of them are costly to maintain. They're also not costly to the environment. So what could be the other thing that I'm possibly thinking is costly, and therefore I don't keep them or want for them? Let's go through there and discuss. I'm here with my beloved ceramics, which I have often said that when we move from this home to go into van life and eventually cabin life, we've been cabin hunting lately, not too far from ourselves, because here I am only 381 miles across the sea to Norway, where they've just started doing a direct ferry. So I am not going to settle on where I'm going to go for the cabin yet, but that would be quite handy if it was that close. And they are not in the Schengen area, which we're quite pleased about. So although I've been cabin hunting, it's been making me think about, for cabin life and van life, what I will obviously take with me. And the ceramics are something that have grown too costly, because depending on what we do and what we're going to do, I think items can become costly in other ways. So the thing that's become too costly for myself about some of the ceramics, not all of them, to give you an example of what is costly to me, is if I constantly worry about them. And don't get me wrong, I enter different phases sometimes. I think that's fine. How I feel one day, maybe not on a day-to-day basis, but definitely monthly or yearly, really does change. For instance, I have periods where I'm happy as a minimalist to have the things out on display and enjoy them. But then I have other times when it feels like too much clutter and I put them away in the cupboard for a little while. And for me personally, that kind of relates to when I sometimes think things are causing me annoyance or causing me a costly psychology. And that is, if I constantly worry about an item breaking, was it worth it to begin with? And I would say no. And I don't think it's always the case of, if you have to worry about the cost of it, i.e. the price, you couldn't afford it to begin with. Sometimes, in my perspective, if something is handmade, I worry about the cost of it breaking because it is a beautiful piece of handmade, one-of-a-kind pottery or artistry. That is the thing that makes me worry about it. But it could be applied to something expensive or something that's hard to replicate or something that's hard to replace or expensive to replace or expensive to keep clean. There's loads of different ways it could be costly. It could be costly to your health, for instance. But the thing of late that I'm finding is definitely too costly in my home is, let me get them and let me show you them. I've got no choice other than to attempt to clip that on there now. So it is what it is. It might sound a little bit different. For the longest time, I told you all that when we were going to go travelling, i.e. before we got little Zala, which was a lot of fun trying to get the thumbnail with her running around, which I will show you at some point in this video, a lot of outtakes. I said there were a few things I was going to keep in a tiny little white hard shell box. Well, the hard shell box has gone. I got rid of it because I decided what I'm going to do. I obviously got a few wooden utensils out in the kitchen. They were in the box. I was kind of saving them in with the pots for eventually when we settle down in our cabin in the woods. They've come back out. I've decided I want to use them. I want to use them in the van because we're going to make the van look really pretty. But the one thing that I don't think I'll be able to use in the van, and therefore I don't want to worry about its costly nature of breaking with it going into storage, are these. Now, let's just discuss. I have 2 of these matcha bowls and I have 2 matching ramen bowls. They are a Yukasini Japanese glaze and they are from Japan and they are so beautifully handmade. Wabi-sabi pottery. Even as I am talking about them, there is a part of me that really wants to keep them, but I am just worried sick about them breaking, and it's because they're handmade. They are quite expensive. I mean, they're about £15 each, so that's about 20 US dollars. It's about 30 Australian dollars. Whilst they are costly in terms of expense, they're not ridiculously expensive, but I would be a little bit upset if they broke. I'd also be a bit upset if they broke because they're part of a set, albeit the set is only one of each for me and my partner Johnny, but it's still a set of 4. So I worry far more than I should for an inanimate object because it has been very well made and handmade, you know, it's custom made. And it really got me thinking, whilst I do want, as a minimalist, the odd thing I choose to keep in my home to be beautiful, I want to enjoy having a drink, having my food, I want the act to be mindful. But what I don't want is I don't want to worry about it all the time in between. So I've personally decided that whilst I don't want to live in a throwaway culture where I just get some 50p factory made pots that have no joy in them whatsoever for me when I'm eating or drinking from them, I'm kind of, at the moment at least, until I'm in cabin life and I know I'm not moving, I'm leaning towards somewhere in the middle ground. That feels less costly. I would definitely have these in the future when I know I'm staying put, but at the moment they've become too costly to me. And I know that many people also discuss that in regards to other things. I'm just using my ceramics as an example today. They discuss how don't always go for the cheapest thing because that's going to need replacing more, but if you go to, you know, the other extreme of the expensive thing, especially nowadays with planned obsolescence, it's not always necessarily meaning you are getting the best thing, and you might worry about it constantly getting broken. So perhaps the middle ground is the best place to go. Well, for now, that is what I've decided with my ceramics. I am going to let go of these ceramics. I haven't decided where to yet. I haven't decided whether I'm going to attempt to sell them. Not me personally, but my partner, because I am not getting involved in Facebook Marketplace, as you all know, and I would be worried sick about trying to ship these as well, so they're not getting sold on Vinted. I could possibly, if we can't sell them, give them to my mum as an ultimate gift for her new home, because she also plans on collecting Japanese pottery and even making her own, potentially getting a kiln, which I will love. Love, love, love. She said she could even try and use these as an idea of how to make our future pottery with this same glaze, like using this as a design concept to make more. So I feel kind of okay about getting rid of them. And these ones are what I call middle of the road. Some of these, for instance, you know, they're beautiful, but this one, for instance, is from Scandi Home. It cost £6. It wasn't expensive. It kind of is. It does look handmade, but I am not sure that it is. This one is Marks and Spencer's. Some of these I did thrift, but they ultimately have come from a store. This one is the only one that actually came from a handmade pottery in Greece. We might try and keep that one because it's already slightly broken, so we don't worry about it too much. It's got a chip off the bottom, but I keep it because you can't really tell when it's just sitting on the side. The best place to get a chip. This one again, factory made. I've seen loads of them about. People sort of listing them on Etsy as handmade, yet you've seen quite a few of them, so it's a bit confusing. Same goes for these. I've seen a few of them listed in quite a lot of places. So they look handmade. If they are handmade, they've been handmade on a mass scale, if you know what I mean. My thing is that if I have to worry about the maintenance or the loss or the breakage of something too much, it is costly to me. And what this does to my psychology is it tells me if all this stuff in general, like let's take this to the bigger picture, if owning a load of stuff is too costly to our health, our time in terms of maintaining it, our psychology in terms of worrying about maintaining it and not breaking it, too costly literally as in expensive, you know, what better things could you be doing with your money rather than buying all this stuff? Could you be traveling, getting education, using something for your interests that brings you actual joy and experience in life? You know, what else could you be doing? And therefore, is it actually taking away from your life by having it? Because to me, if it's taking your time and it's taking away from your life, that is definitely the utmost costly definition. And this is why, for the most part, that I choose to own or have or keep barely anything. In fact, practically nothing. And the things that I choose to bring with me on this grand journey of life are economical to my peace. Because, and remember this everyone, we simply cannot afford to be bargainous with that. Now, all that being said, I have a very quick 30-second, roughly, update for you all. I've made a big decision this week, and it is that although we're doing this Wednesday, Sunday videos of late, just this Sunday, I plan to launch memberships. They're only going to be 99 cents. I've decided to do away with Patreon. It was becoming too costly to my time, and I thought I would try and make it a bit easier and a bit more accessible for some of you, because no doubt in this current climate, £3, which is what I was charging for my Patreon, even that might be a bit much for some people. So I'd like to make it just 99 cents, that's 99 pennies, the same across, the equivalent across all currencies, wherever you are watching from in the world. And what I'm going to give everybody for that is one really good quality video, extra and exclusive per month, and one live stream. So you're getting two longer, around 40-minute video and a 40-minute live stream, because I kind of figured it will definitely save me time. I think it's definitely a good way to manage it that's not costly to me and my health and my time, especially now I have two channels and I'm doing 2 videos a week already for the SAGELIFE channel and a video for Bare Necessities. So I just want to be able to put quality content out now. Really, people aren't really getting that much less that used to be on my Patreon. I said rather than having 4 weekly 10-minute videos, for instance, or 1 across the month, so 4 videos, you're just getting one 40-minute really good quality video, and that is going to be just extra stuff that I perhaps can't show as easily on regular public YouTube. Sometimes it's going to be about minimalism, sometimes it's going to be about simple living, sometimes it's going to be vlogs, and we're kind of moving into a bit of interesting territory lately, I think. So I just wanted to let you all know that just this Sunday, because I'm launching the memberships, there's going to be a lot to do with that. I am too busy this week to make a second video for SAGELIFE. So we're going to go live, launch the memberships, and there will be about 10 videos waiting and a previous live. And then the first of every month for the memberships, there will be a new 40-minute video, even longer sometimes, and a live every month. And then also on the SAGELIFE channel, we will continue with Wednesdays at 10 p.m. and after this Sunday, Sundays also at 11 a.m. I hope that sounds like something you might all be interested in. I definitely appreciate the support now that we are really trying to get our savings together in a frugal manner so that we can invest really in our future life, in our cabin, in van life. That is where all our savings are going. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Or I might even see you all on Sunday in the comments on the members section. See you all later. Bye.